Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and a member show to the GMP Morning Show.
Olá Bom Dia ALEGRIA, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. Tudo bem? Como está? Do let me know in the chat, if you will, how you're doing today. It is peeing down in the Porto, San Martinho de Porto, that is. And the weather as it was forecast and shared with you yesterday appears to be coming true. I don't know if it's worth having a look at the weather on our weather page for the next week or so. I think it's clouds and rain all the way for the next few days. Your local weather reports very welcome, and your pictures of sunshine for us to long for the return of, very welcome on 913-590-303. How are you doing today? Do let me know. And if you're watching this later, it's been a while since I've heard from anybody who's watching on replay. Of course, we love it when you join live. And it's a lot to ask at 8 in the morning, isn't it? When you'd rather just have a duvet day and turn over. But it's lovely to see you here live. For example, Mike, good to see you on the live streaming, YouTubing and podcasting call last night. Oh, the temperature must be rising. There's a fly in the studio. Or there's a sandwich going off somewhere in a distant corner of the studio. But anyway, Coach Turner also in, continuing the tour. See you at the weekend. What's that? Was that... You don't want to drink beer at the weekend, Coach Turner? Bom dia a todos e feliz terça. A wonderful walk around Santarém yesterday, visiting some of the historic sites. What a contrast to Setúbal, due to visit Constancia and a branch today. Yeah, very interesting. Get up into the old town of a branch. As you're approaching a branch, you're thinking, well, this looks a bit industrial. It really doesn't... The distant view of a branch really doesn't let you in on the charm of the old town up in the top there. So make sure you get into the old heart of a branch there. But you're going to have a great time. Constancia is lovely as well. So well done, Coach. Not many pictures on 913-590-303. And thanks, Mike, for being with us. The One Bag and a Passport YouTube channel. Have you subscribed yet? That might encourage Mike to make some videos. We were with Michael, the other Mike, Michael Heron, last night, helping him get his Good Morning España endeavor and project off the ground. So that was great. That's our second Monday of the month. That is the live streaming, YouTubing and podcasting club. Chris, hello, mate. How are you? Olá Bom Dia to you as well. And Jackie's just in too, who was with us for the Munson and the Geezer session. It looks like he is going to be joining the Shager party. Not as a member of parliament. I don't think that's possible, not for a long time yet. And I don't know if he can do that. Even if he probably can do that if he's a citizen. That's the geezer. Anyway, let's keep that sort of thing within the realms of the Munson and the Geezer Monday night show, shall we, at 7 o'clock. Pete, nearly missed you there. You're mainly moist, I hear, this morning in Funda. Yeah, it's a wet one. Who doesn't like a wet one first thing in the morning? I know I don't. I hope you're doing well, mate, to Chris there from Pete. Right, some great news to share with you. Best wine, best car. Obviously, no one's going to agree on these, are they? People might be a little bit, I don't know, grudgingly accepting of the wine result, although they may have a different favourite themselves. And I wouldn't have thought the best-selling car in Portugal, not that it's a bad car, but I think people really do have it's subjective, isn't it, when it comes to cars? But I'll tell you what they are. I'll tell you about the best wine and the best-selling car in Portugal this morning in the Bom Dia Daily section of the show until we meet and greet Mamabear McGowan. Oh, here's a picture. Thanks. Thank you, Coach. No sooner asked than delivered on 913-590-303. And I've got a little bit of a slideshow for you. I shall be, after we've said ta-ra to Mamabear McGowan at around 8:40.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Did you hear that?
Time to
Fill my cup. That's our Bon Dia Daily deal of the day as well. I'll come back to that a little bit later on. So yeah, I just want to make sure. It's got this terrible feeling that might not have the link to join me, but we shall see. She joins us from the countryside, so it's always a little bit fingers crossed until she is finally and safely on the air in the morning. But yeah, I think I have sent the link over. Okay. Right. Okay. news from the Portuguese as well. Speak of the devil. Most importantly, though, yes. Okay, the link has been sent to Mamabear McGowan. She, of course, of Share and Care. There are some things I want to ask and suggest to her when she joins us a little bit later on. But of course, she speaks of life and death. All of life is here when Mamabear is here, including the bits we don't really want to talk about very often. But she has us do that with her monthly visit to the Good Morning Portugal show. Okay, comments in the chat and the Bom Dia Daily. A little bit of news, weather, language, culture, and well-being. I say well-being, but we're still a little bit light on that. Come on, where are all you therapists and you positive living people who might want to send us some tips of the day? I imagine when the coach returns to the UK, he'll have something to say about a little bit of weight loss and exercise. Although you may be doing a lot of walking and exercise whilst you're here, Coach. We shall see about that. But yeah, Wine Magazine. Then let's go to Wine Magazine. Why not? Let's toast Wine Magazine. And this, I think I was led here probably by the Portugal News this morning, the news source of that name. And let's go direct to their source, which is a Revista de Vinhos. Now, I'm thinking, Revista, what does that mean? It means magazine. I didn't know that. Revista is magazine, so there's some vocabulary for you. Wine Magazine has already distinguished the best of the year. I think they had a big ceremony. Revista, this was probably getting on for a week ago in Porto. Revista de Vinhos has just revealed the big winners of the Best of the Year 2024 awards in a unique celebration that filled the archive room of the Alfândega de Porto Congress Center. And the winners are... Oh, we've got a drum roll, haven't we? Let's see if we can find it. Where's that drum roll? We used to have a drum... Yes. All right, winemaker João Nicolau de Almeida, who spent 40 years working for Ramos Pinto until he started the family project at Quinta do Monte Gisto, also in the Douro, was elected Personality of the Year in Wine. But that must be great if you're a winemaker, right, to get that accolade there. So well done to you. That's João Nicolau de Almeida, Personality of the Year in Wine, in recognition of the unique work he promoted in that region over the last few decades of Douro. The title Personality of the Year in Gastronomy highlighted the selflessness and entrepreneurship of Manuel Pinheiro, the charismatic owner of the restaurant and seafood restaurant O Gaveto. Now, a gavota, I know, is a seagull, but what is a gaveto? One of the gastronomic cathedrals of Matosinhos, a gastronomic cathedral, no less, folks, who in recent years has achieved enormous impact. Who doesn't like an enormous impact? In the international media, has effectively promoted wine, and its authors have been an uncompromising defender of traditional Portuguese cuisine. I'll have some pictures to show you of traditional Portuguese cuisine from Casarão a little bit later on. I had a fantastic Sunday lunch talking of traditional Portuguese cuisine, and I've got a recommendation for you. Antonio Montenegro Fiuza was considered Personality of the Year in Brazil, following the support provided to the promotion of Portuguese companies in that market. What a fantastic job that is, promoting Portuguese products in Brazil, as well as for facilitating investment exchanges between actors from the sister countries, including in the areas of wine, gastronomy, and tourism. So this brings us to Wine of the Year. Is obtained by producer and winemaker Luís Pato. Remember, we had Luís Pato on the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. I better give you the link to this because we won't read the entire thing this morning, but just give you a flavour of the flavours. Pete knows what the car of the year, or it's not car of the year, it's best-selling car, isn't it? Anyway, so there's the link, because that's some dense text I can see on the screen there. Not entirely inviting, but Luís Pato has made Wine of the Year from a pre-Filogera. Is that the wine virus vineyard of the Baga variety? Luís Pato de Pé Franco das Valhadas 2020 is a red with pronounced acidity, delicate and balanced, with great potential for evolution. I know people like that, with pronounced acidity, although delicate and balanced. Rosim by Catarina Vieira and Pedro Ribeiro, with a special focus on Alentejo and Lisbon, in addition to multiple partnerships in other regions of the country and also abroad, achieved the title of Producer of the Year. So they got that at Rochim. And fortified wine producer of the year, who's that, is Quevedo, which exports 94% of its production to 37 countries. Hold on a minute, that's not very Portuguese. You don't send that much wine away. You keep the best of it here, and you get those stats should be the other way around: 37% to 94 countries, possibly, but not 94% of your production to 37 countries, as it dusted off the language and image of port wine. Is that what needed doing? And did port wine need a dusting down? It's Valentine's weekend. There's going to be some dusting down going on, I think, in San Martino de Porto this weekend. The new producer of the year is the Dominio. I remember saying this to my neighbor, I think it was last year, one of my expat neighbors. He said, it's Valentine's. It's a very honest and frank exchange between two gentlemen in the street, which I hope you won't judge me too harshly for. But he said to me, what are you doing for this Valentine's night then? I said, well, hoping to get my leg over. Like, isn't everybody? But that's not that. I think he was wondering which restaurant I was thinking of going to. The new producer of the year is a Dominio. That's too much information, isn't it? Is a Dominio do Açor project in Dow. Let's move on, which brings together a dozen Brazilian investors and has achieved high levels examples with clear inspiration from Burgundy wine. So there you go. That's the Wine Magazine Awards of. What are they celebrating? I suppose, yeah, they're celebrating the best of 2024, aren't they? Coming into 2025 the year of 2025. The announcement and award ceremony brought together around 1,000 guests at the Alfandega do Porto there, which is probably that picture beautifully lit there on the screen that you see before you. Should we bother with whether this one? I don't think it's worth it. I will check for you in just a moment. What we will do is have a look at the best-selling car. Gemini, good morning to you. And we're certainly walking a lot, says the coach. Yes, ahead of the best-selling car, it is either a horrible Peugeot that has sold less than. Yeah, I don't think you have to sell many cars in Portugal to be best-selling car, do you? To be fair, it's a bit like best-selling records now. You only have to sell a few hundred, I suspect. Is there a UK top 40 anymore? I don't know, but you don't have to sell very many to reach the heady heights, do you? I think, because things are so diversified. But anyway, Pete, not a fan of horrible Peugeots by the sound of it, or the wonderfully rusty and faulty exhaust Dacia Sandero. Great news for garage owners and repair shops, Portugal wide. He is such a rascal, that man. João Ernesto now with us, Bom Dia Portugal, from gorgeous Salamanca, España. Thank you for sending the pictures of the unusual outfits that are sometimes worn. And João Ernesto clearly and keenly exercising his right to be Iberian. Tesla Model 3 is third, but it is 3 times as expensive as the first two. Is that put together, Pete? Handy, as people I know with Peugeots and Dacias need at least 3, as 2 will be in the garage for most of the year. We know what his money's on. Have you got one of those stickers coming? I was talking to somebody, a Tesla owner over the weekend, who was telling me that they were getting a sticker which distanced themselves from Elon Musk. They were going to put a sticker in the back window of their Tesla. I bought this before I knew what he was going to do. Kind of vibes there. Right, let's find out. You're right, Pete. It is the Peugeot. Let's move on from best wine to best-selling cars then. And we might even have time to go to the Olive Pong in Lisbon at the moment, which is quite funny. We will come back and do that if we have time. I think it's going to be a very brief look at the weather. I'm just scanning weather. All I can see is clouds. The only one little sunshine icon is for tomorrow in Madeira. Other than that, I'm going to have to show you this. You need to see. Oh no, hold on a minute. Faro on Friday. Let's get down to Faro, everybody. Oh no, because we're here for the weekend in San Martino de Porto this weekend. A few people coming to town this coming weekend to party. But yeah, there are two sunshine across all of the districts. And for the next 7 days, there are just 2 outbreaks of sunshine. Unbelievable. Right, okay. The 300 days is not going well so far, but I shall apply myself to it as much as it galls me to record days of no sunshine here in Portugal. Right. Mama Bear's just joining us backstage. Let's have a look then. Best-selling car in Portugal. Let's take Pete's massive comment off the screen there so we can actually see what's going on. It's a nice looking and a nice coloured car, isn't it? for those of us who shop based on the color of the car. Peugeot started the year 2025 as the market leader in Portugal with 1,420 passenger cars registered. Yeah, you were right there, 1,500. The French brand dominated the first month of the new year, as was the case in 2024. Was it car of the year? The 2008 vehicle, not the year. Behind Peugeot, literally, possibly, were the Dacia with 1,300 sales and Toyota. It's not many cars, is it? Greta Thunberg will be happy about that. Toyota, nearly 1,200. Mercedes-Benz and BMW closed the top 5 in the national market with just over 1,000 each. Renault ranked 6 in national sales ahead of Nissan, Kia, and Volkswagen. Opel rounded out the top 10 best-selling brands in January this year. That is just 1 month of sales. Also noteworthy for you, what's the equivalent of a petrol head for electric cars? Spark heads, battery heads. Also noteworthy is BYD. What is that? Bring Your Drive, 392 only. Which, look, BYD, if you would like the Good Morning Portugal Roadshow to adopt your vehicle as a sponsor car, we'd be delighted to do so. We'd like one of those 7-seaters, okay? The BYD 7-seater. Just send it over to San Martino de Porto. We can stick Good Morning Portugal Roadshow on the side of it, and we'd be delighted to advertise your BYD and maybe help you sell a few more than 392 here. Which for the first time delivered more new passenger vehicles than Tesla, but only by 3 on national soil. So, Peter, BYD outselling Tesla. Is it the Musk effect? I think it might be. That is going to be denting sales, I think, isn't it? Elon Musk, as the first lady in America, doing what he's doing at the moment. And there was an aroma in Setúbal yesterday. Okay, we probably do need to, and it wasn't Coach Turner's cologne we're talking about. Thanks anyway, Portugal News, for your car sales report there for the first year of 2025. And there was certainly an aroma in Setúbal when we left yesterday. We thought it was from muck spreading. It's from the olive oil industry. Apparently, it's the rancid remains of olive pressing. Pete will know a bit about that. We need the rain for the farms. Every time it rains, yeah, we need the rain. We need the rain. Is there you rain lovers? Okay, will you tell me? Sorry, getting a little hoarse here. Who doesn't like a little horse first thing in the morning? My Little Pony. That's different. First thing in the morning, isn't it? A little pony. Anyway, where was I? Yes, when is enough rain enough? Okay. Because it keeps raining and people, we need the rain for the reservoirs and for the farms and for the ducks and everything. But it can't just keep raining, can it? So when do you think enough is enough when it comes to the rain? Nice. Or does it just keep filling the aquifers of the country? Nice that it is green, as it will blend in when abandoned by the side of the road. Okay. Build your dreams. Okay. It's great if you like steel that has the same consistency. Oh, Pete's pushing back there. Tesla owner. Proud Tesla owner pushing back against BYD as IKEA flat pack cardboard. Not a fan. Surprisingly cold here in Salamanca. Only 1 degree this morning. Get one of those nice hoodies that they wear up there as well. Keep you nice and warm. I think we'll show some of your pictures possibly later on in the week. Hopefully not to terrify people too much. Very interesting garb. The holy men of Salamanca. You don't want to be bumping into them late at night while you're walking out of a bar, having had 1 or 2 bits of what's it called? What the little Spanish snacks called? A little bit of Spanish wine. And some tapas. That's tapas, of course. Right. Okay. Very quickly, then, I will share with you the weather screen just so you can see. There's only 2 little outbreaks of sunshine. We'll find out what it's like in central Portugal with Mamabear. That's indeed if that's where she is. We'll find out where Mamabear is and what the weather's like. But the Good Morning Portugal. She is our well-being this morning. Okay. Talking of Bom Dia Daily well-being, that's Mamabear this morning. So have a look at this weather then, if you will. It's on the screen for you now. And then I can very quickly brainwash you with a Spartan FX advert as well. They might be. I'm asking Spartan FX if they will do a bit of sponsorship on the Good Morning Portugal Roadshow sound system. I think it's looking favourable, at least for some microphone foams with Spartan effects. And can you imagine singing My Way or I Will Survive whilst advertising Spartan effects at the Good Morning Portugal Roadshow? The Good Times Party, the first of which we're having this weekend. So look, Lisbon, Porto, Coimbra, Faro. Look, Friday, everybody, Friday in Faro, it's sunshine. But that's your lot in the mainland, I think. Yes, cloud and rain, cloud and rain, cloud and rain, boys. As we scroll down throughout the whole country, over to the autonomous regions, cloud and rain, apart from tomorrow in Madeira. Thank you, Madeira. It's a long way to go for a bit of sunshine. And you never know, even with this rain and cloud forecast, there's occasional outbreaks of blue sky and sunshine. I should be looking out for those. But that's all you've got until next week, according to the weather people. Let's hope they're wrong, because sometimes they are. It is past 20 past. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Oh, hold on a minute. Let's answer the phone first. Let's find the right sound effects and give her a nice big round of applause. Woo! Who's that on line one? Olá Bom Dia. Hello. And where are you this morning?
At home.
Really? There's a different aspect, isn't it? You're looking very homely and nice there. Eva water filter, I believe.
Oh, well, eco water filter. Yes, we have. It takes out the chlorine and stuff out of the water. But as you know, folks, or maybe you don't know, we're fully off grid here. So now we're filtering our well water after it's been filtered outside. I don't like reverse osmosis. It takes away the minerals. This
and the
amazing.
life. Yes.
It keeps the minerals. It gives you even more. So excellent win.
Yeah, we used to have one of those. We've got a slightly different one now. But yes, I used to use those for years, actually. That particular type of water filter that I see behind you there. Anyway, how are you?
Really good, and getting
Really good.
a lot
Excellent.
better.
Oh, good.
And
good.
Batty, for those last month we were unable to come. We had to be emergency to the vet.
So you did.
He's been on new treatment. Hold on, I'll just get the box because it's really helpful for people.
Oh, okay. Batty's new medical treatment or veterinary treatment.
It's relevant is because leishmaniasis is a really big thing.
Is that what he's got?
Yeah, and no-see-ums, the little flies, they bite in and they infect the blood with a parasite. And it basically means that our dogs with leishmaniasis are suffering with a chronic illness. So they're aching all the time. They have a lot of pain. They have a lower immune system, and they really do suffer.
Oh,
now,
dear.
this is something for everyone. It's called S-leash, and basically it's got a type of wormwood in it, and it's an anti-parasite. And this thing, he's been on a month of it. He's got a 2-month trial. It can actually get rid of leash. I'd still recommend pure and all the chemicals, but this is chemical free and it's all natural and it's just perfect. So Batty's on this and he's shown some massive improvements. He's doing really, really well. So he's bouncing out and back to normal.
That is lovely to hear. Yes, this is a new kind of parasite, isn't it, that people encounter when they bring their pets to Portugal. So it's a good shout on that to let people know about it. And I think it's kind of one of those things that's manageable rather than curable. It's an ongoing sort of battle, isn't it, that pet owners have with this particular creature.
It can be, but this medicine could end that ongoing battle.
All right. Stubbs is S-leash.
S-leash. I'll try and.
All right, that's good to know about. All right. So, what are the symptoms?
There's loads. Basically, they can lose the fur around the eyes and the ears, and they get lesions where there's just blood and pus coming. They're achy. They have a weakened immune system. So they're susceptible to a lot more. Batty had an enlarged heart, even though he was on the treatment, the allopurinol, and he'd been on it a few years. This is helping him get himself back to normal. It kills the stuff. Now, depending on how soon I think you can treat your animals with this, basically, if you can knock all the parasites out your system, your animal can live a full life. Now with the allopurinol, it helped people manage their pet symptoms, but it didn't stop it. Preventative stuff like the vaccine, which I've never tried for my animals, and the other thing, well, there's allopurinol, and then there's the leash collar. But some animals have been very reactive to things like the Serestro collar, so the animals react. They're very sensitive to all those excessive chemicals that they're putting on the skin of the animal. So I think this is a beautiful solution. It contains Artemisia annua, ginseng, and turmeric.
That sounds like good stuff. Yeah. It sounds like you could put that in a stir fry.
Yeah, you probably could, to be quite honest. And folic acid. And this was available through Vet Birao in Castelo Branco. They go and see them, get the treatment, give it a go. It's made massive differences to Batty.
Put a smile back on his face, his little grin. Fantastic. Give him a hug from me. Hold on a minute. That's good batteries. That's not about Pete's got some additional comments about caterpillars as well. Another sort of pet peril here. Joao Ernesto, watching the show while enjoying an amazing breakfast in an old convent. Yes, probably better than in a current convent. They'll wonder what you're doing there in their dining room, I think, there. Horrible disease, the leishmaniasis, is that what it's called? Also worth looking out for processional caterpillars at this time of year. Our mate got rid of a 20-meter. Wow, that's huge.
Can we just bring ourselves back to earth a minute? You know how I very much believe that when we're in fear, we create more of the same thing. We're putting our energy in something. First of all, there's two types of stationary caterpillar in Portugal. We have the pine and we have the oak caterpillar. The oak caterpillar is nowhere near as toxic or poisonous as the pine. Hoopies love to eat these caterpillars. There are some birds, and indeed our domestic fowl, our chickens and things, that can eat the processionary caterpillars without any problem whatsoever. They do cause an issue for our dogs and stuff. The thing is, while we're taking down trees and destroying the habitat that kept them away from us, they're looking for somewhere to be. The processionary moth, it kind of goes about, and it only stays within 3 kilometers of its home where it's born. Then it looks for a tree to hang out in, makes its little candy floss nest, and when it goes to sleep in there, and there's the caterpillars wake up, their one purpose in life is to reach the root of the tree. It isn't to hang about or go around poisoning people. It only does that when it's scared, right? So we've got to come back to reality, right? These things are needed and they're necessary in our environment for a full, diverse ecosystem. We need to recognise they want to be in trees that are tall enough to allow them to complete their life cycle. So if we don't allow trees to reach maturity, they're going to be like, where's our food gone? Because a decent sized pine tree allows a processionary to wake up and start making its way down. And as it starts off at the top, it's got nice, fresh, new pine needles. And it's like, oh yeah, this is just the taste, just the food that I need to get to my next life cycle. And then as it's growing and moving down the tree, it's making its way to older pine needles, which are then feeding its what's next necessary for its next part. Eventually it's like, oh, I'm at the base of the pine tree, and with all these old pine needles, I'm just going to dig myself a little bed and go to sleep. And that's what happened. They get themselves a little bed at the very base of the tree that they were born in, and they go to sleep and wake up, and then they fly about within the 3 kilometers of that tree. And eventually, I'm not sure how long they live for, but they find themselves a nice tree, hopefully a nice tall tree, and they make the little candy floss thing, and it begins again. So we can live in peace with these processionary caterpillars. And are they invasive, or have we just killed all their environment and forced them into places where they've carried on the wind because they've got nowhere to stop them flying to, you know?
I am sure it's a whole lot more complex than just killing them with fire, which is, I think, Peter's.
Killing things with fire is not helpful to the ecosystem.
I think you're
Taking
probably right.
tree and dumping them somewhere else is just moving the issue. How about letting a tree grow to maturity and letting them just so they can live and go to the base of the tree? There wouldn't be a problem, you know.
We don't have time for that. We don't have time for getting in tune with nature. Come on, what's wrong with you? I was at the donut shop on Saturday, and a wasp appeared. You know, people freak out, don't they? When, understandably, you know, some people can have a big reaction.
Pollinators.
A certain woman said at the table, she said, these are totally, a bit like Pete here, they are invasive and have no benefit, right? This lady said the same thing. These have no, it was a sort of genocidal comment. It was like, you know, eradicate, burn with fire. These have no use in the human kingdom. And I'm thinking, that can't be right, can it? Can anything? Are there things in our creation that have no benefit whatsoever? We might not like what they bring, but I'm suspecting if it exists,
what they do, it's expanding our awareness and learning. When I had an ant problem, I looked at, why have I got an ant problem? If you've got a mouse problem, why have you got a mouse problem? What is it you're doing to create an effective environment for these things to want to move in? It's not like they want to hang out with humans. It's that they want to, it's 9 times out of 10, they want our mess. And if we're making a mess,
well-being, yes.
And they're giving them a McDonald's takeaway, and they're like, wow, we're going over there. That's the ideal environment for us to breed in because it's got our food.
Yep.
We've got to come back to ourselves, always come back to ourselves. And that brings in what I wanted to talk about this morning, because I want to throw a spanner in the works, Carl.
Oh, you don't, you? Not you as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely me. Another spanner for this morning.
Okay.
Well, we're in the week Valentine's Day, and I want to honour that. And because of that, I want to honour the fact that we're all beautiful beings, and whether we're single or we've got partner or we've got partners, because there are people who are so conscious they can manage more than themselves and more than just one other person. I mean, I've got plenty to deal with myself, and Batty, that's me done. But we need to remember this time of year, it's all about not so much love but compassion. Yes. And it's bringing ourselves back to ourselves and our self-awareness, always coming back to ourselves. I mean, I've been reflecting a lot recently. You know, I had my cancer journey on it. Despite the cancer, as far as we know, it's not there. It may come back. We don't know. I'm in that 5-year timeline, and I'm cool with that. But when we go through something that's, say, a chronic illness or a terminal illness, and we have an initial treatment, it has its knock-on effects. Yeah. And the knock-on effects mean we have to recover from our recovery. So I'm still meeting the karma of the recovery from the recovery.
Right.
And I was thinking about things, and I was thinking, I really need to come back to myself. I'm still doing all these things and forgetting about me. So I thought that today was an ideal opportunity, because I know how you like your practices, Carl, and I know how everyone enjoys having those little things to just bring into the day. And I thought I'd invite us to do a short meditation that just allows us to bring ourselves back to ourselves.
Well, why not? This is normally the sort of thing I do at midday on New Reality TV, but let's bring it on. I've been saying there's a little bit of a lack of well-being input and content. Here we go, everybody. Don't do this if you're flying an airplane at the moment, but anyone else?
driving.
Or driving, yes. Do this if it's safe to do so. Is this like our contributions to the Valentine's, the self-love meditation, possibly?
Yeah, it's just to remember ourselves, because it's so easy to be everywhere. And our mind, we're never meeting ourselves in the moment, because we're always thinking about why we can't get to this moment, what I'd rather be doing now instead of what is happening now. And we're missing ourselves.
You had me at moments. Yes, definitely. Okay, so what do you need? What do we need to do?
Right. So, well, I'm assuming, and possibly wrongly, that we can all breathe without any assistance. But if we do need assistance to breathe, we might have a machine or something, and that will allow us to breathe. And it may very possibly create a sound, or it may also allow our chest to rise and fall. So I want us to, first of all, remember that we have this wonderful free thing that we have with us, that we carry with us all the time, and that is our breath. And we don't have to do anything with our breath, because we're just breathing. We don't have to think, oh, hold on a minute, I just need to breathe in.
Give me a moment. Yeah. Well, you're soon reminded. If you forget to breathe, you're soon reminded.
So it's some of those, well, it's one of those amazing natural phenomenon that just happens, that we're just gifted with. We can just breathe. We can walk without having to think about breathing. Whatever we do, we've got our breath. So if we can just allow ourselves to just breathe, and breathe perfectly normally, listening to the sound of our own breath, or feeling, if we're not able to listen to the sound, we might notice the focus on our nostrils as we're breathing in.
Yep.
And as we're breathing out, we'll feel the temperature inside, a change inside our nostrils. And for those of us that doesn't resonate with so much, what we can do is we could put our hand on our chest or on our belly. And what you'll notice, for those of us that get ourselves all caught up and don't breathe properly, our breathing's mainly in our chest. And therefore, by placing our hand on our chest, we'll notice it just naturally rising and falling if we just sit with it a moment. And those of us that are a little bit more conscious with our breath, or that do breathe properly, maybe we've got breath work practice or some form of exercise or something that gets us to really breathe and breathe properly, we'll notice our breath goes right down our belly. And our belly, it's okay. Our belly is this amazing place because it's where we hold our grief. So often when we have a hard belly, it's because we need to soften our belly to life, and we need to just give ourselves that moment to just breathe in. And imagining a balloon inside our belly. As we breathe in, it expands just a little bit, and as we breathe out, it's going out, and it's just each time our belly's expanding, it's just softening and just dropping a little tiny bit of that army. So if we can allow ourselves to just be for one moment with the in-breath and the out-breath. The in-breath and the out-breath. And can you notice there's a little pause between when we're breathing in and out and in again. We didn't have to put it there. It was just there naturally. We don't have to make it last any longer. However long it lasts, the length of our in-breath and our out-breath, they're all perfect, all absolutely perfect. There is nothing that you have to do other than allow yourself to be and meeting your breath in this moment. Allowing yourself to come in and out. And it's very common for thoughts to come on in and try and take us away from where we are and where we're at with our breath. It's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with us when that happens. It's just part of the human experience. Our brain is trained to flutter from awareness to awareness, from thought to thought, from thought to pain to thought to pain to thought and thought and thought and thought. And that's okay. It helps to come back if we need to, without judgment, to breathing in and out. And if it helps, we can either focus on our breath or count our breaths as we're counting in and out. That would be 1, in and out, 2. And by counting our breath, we can bring more focus to ourselves for those that aren't used to being with our breathing, but want to stop that endless mind chatter that's just going to stay on a magic carpet ride, who knows where, you know, in the future or the past, and replaying our stories. And as we're sitting with ourselves, I'd like to invite you to imagine that you are the ocean, a vast, expansive and deep body of water. And there's lots of things going on in that body of water, and that's okay. And they're just like all the thoughts and all the little bits that are coming into our mind and trying to take us away. But just be with that breath and be as the ocean. And as you breathe, think of it as a wave. As the wave comes together, we're breathing in. It's reaching its peak as we pause, and as we exhale, that wave is falling down and becoming back one with the ocean again. And there's a little pause before it comes to the next wave. Breathing in and out, the wave coming together. Pause and then falling, sometimes breaking against the shore, or just breaking back into itself. It's all perfect. It's all beautiful. And now I'd like you to just recognize, as your body is like the ocean, is there a little thought that keeps trying to grab your attention? Obviously, there is for some people. And that little thought really needs some compassion. It needs your attention. So just pay attention for it for a moment. Don't allow it to take you on a magic carpet ride. Just allow it to be there and acknowledge it. Watch it if you're able. And see where that thought is sitting in your body. What you may find is if you sit with that thought for long enough, it's showing up as a sensation somewhere in your physical body. Just giving yourselves a moment just to recognize that thought and just tune into wherever it is in this human body, the body consort. And I invite you to put your hand wherever that sensation is. And then say, this too belongs. It doesn't matter how painful it is or how much love it is. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong here. If there's a sensation in your body related to that thought, or just the thought and you've still not got a sensation, it's okay. In that case, you can place your hand on your heart. So you're placing your hand on your heart or just somewhere where that sensation is. And you're just letting yourself know this too belongs. All is welcome. Now, return back to the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Slowly opening your eyes and just shake it off. Just anything else that's left, just shake it off.
Woo!
And there we go. So
Well,
what we were
thank you
doing,
for that spanner in my works.
it's okay. What we were
Very
doing
good.
is we were just practicing what's known as the R of rain. I didn't want to bring you all the rain meditation today, but I wanted to introduce you to rain, because rain is such a beautiful, beautiful meditation for self-compassion and for compassion for other people. When we can allow ourselves to recognize the sensations, feelings in our bodies, we are making a massive step to recovering ourselves and to recovering who we are.
Well, thank you very much for that. I think that's very timely for people.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Timely for me as well. I shall own that. That's very good. Thank you very much for that. And an interesting analogy, I think, with the invasive species conversation. There's a connection. The invasive species are possibly our power animals this morning. Very interesting indeed. And the
Go with
creatures.
it.
Yeah. And I saw a hoopoe. I think you mentioned hoopos because in my locality, there were the signs went up. You know, processionary caterpillar alert, and I understand why the local council have to do that to alert and protect people. But there was a hoopoe there just recently, and now I made that connection thanks to. I mean, they're coming and snacking on these little critters, aren't they? And then
They sources of food for them at this time of year.
absolutely. And look who else turned up in our front garden.
Oh,
Look at this little frog. Mrs. M spotted her, and isn't that delightful? Like I barely noticed. Sat on the tip of an aloe vera leaf, and very content and happy to be. You know, I guess frogs. Their strategy is to play dead, isn't it, and just be very still. They won't notice me if I keep really still. And this creature was so bright and such a blessing. I don't know what the power animal significance is, but just in the last little while, the creatures are coming back.
It's a spirit animal. Power animals are things you call on in when you require power from something.
Okay. All right.
Call upon the animal that we need. Whereas a spirit animal, that would be a spirit animal that's just dropped in your life to go, hi. Especially to Mrs. M, it was like, Mrs. M, I'm here. I'm here. I'm bringing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look,
so that message would have been specifically for Mrs. M.
This is I'm getting shivers, and you know, I asked Coach Turner to send in any pictures from the current trip. He sent me one picture. Just so happens, I didn't know that was going to happen. That's extraordinary. So there it is, the hoopoe bird in a mural.
That mohawk is certainly some tribal warrior. No wonder with it eating like stationary caterpillars. It's obviously hard as nails.
Isn't it just? Yeah, and the flying pattern, the sound it makes, it's an extraordinary bird. It's such a blessing to see when you haven't grown up with those creatures. How lovely. The animal, they only eat the pupae, not the full grown at this time of year. Please try not to. Oh, Pete's still go. Oh, right. Okay, Pete.
I did with my eyes because I was watching. I had a processionary issue when we was in Viseu, and I was like, don't kill them, let's watch, let's see what's going on. And we took time to watch the whole thing, and I was researching and doing things, and I made a video all about it because everyone's like, kill them, and I was thinking, hold on a minute, the problem is the solution. The problem with our pain is we're not addressing the pain. I had an incredible pain I've had an operation recently, and I had this incredible pain. And my problem was I wasn't sitting with the pain. I hadn't acknowledged my suffering.
Yeah.
So by coming back to ourselves and acknowledging the pain, and just allowing it, just that R of rain, that coming back to ourselves and recognizing the pain exists and allowing it to be there and giving it permission, my pain almost completely went. And when I was managing chronic pain every day before the cancer operation that coincidentally found the big issue that was causing me all the chronic pain over the years, that how I was managing that pain. And everyone was like, why aren't you using painkillers? It's because I'd learned to come back to the breath and be with my pain. It gifts us so much more, and it means we don't have to knock ourselves out with painkillers, and we can still, if we just give ourselves those moments to just return to ourselves, it makes so much else in our lives so much easier. The karma of that is just wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Rain says James is the source of all our fresh and potable water, which I think that potable, I think, isn't it? I'm not sure. I think it's an American word, but yeah, drinkable, I guess, which is only 3% of all the water on the planet. Be a rain lover. No.
Rain is awesome.
It's only February. It's not meant to be raining all the time.
No, but if everything in balance, Carl, everything in balance. Come back to ourselves, come back to the fact that
yeah, definitely,
a beautiful thing in imbalance, because who wants to be wet all the time?
Exactly.
So we can come back to that and just recognize that maybe if it's sunny and we want some rain, we practice rain meditation. So we're going to recognize, and maybe next month we can look at recognizing, allowing. So I invite you again to practice now between now. Come on, watch the replay. If you're watching the replay, watch it again. Keep this little meditation for yourselves, so you've got that guidance when you need it and that extra additional support. It's going to work for you. And once you've got that recognizing, you're going to notice so many different things, so much life improvement. And then we'll move on to allowing and allowing to be for much longer. Whereas today we recognize and allow ourselves to recognize. Allowing takes it a little bit further.
Yes.
So
yes, indeed. And on this matter of please try not to misinform people, I think it's a suggestion, Pete. It's not like a directive, or this is how it is. And I guess for you speak in a very definitive way. I think, this is how it is. And, this, I'm talking to Pete now, so you might assume that that's how other people think and operate as well. It's like this. Pete's a teacher. You have to be like that as a teacher sometimes, don't you? You have to sound like that sometimes. But I think, to be fair to Em here, it's a suggestion, it's an offering, it's an opening. Try it. I don't think you're giving us chapter and verse and the ultimate truth about processionary caterpillars.
When we look at a thing, it's a whole life cycle. Its thing is the moth, it's the caterpillar, it's the pupa. And regardless, now where you are in Portugal means how different it is in growth. Like here, you go an hour away from here and it's completely different again. So different times of year we have, and it covers months. So some of the small caterpillars, because they've got nowhere to go, they come down and they've got nowhere to go and they go looking for food. Some of them are able to complete the life cycle in one place. Some of them are further on in the life cycle at this point in time. So wherever you are on the planet, if you are affected by processionary caterpillars in some way, I invite you to take time to get to know them. That doesn't mean go up and hold them or pet them or keep them or anything like that. Obviously, stay safe, folks, and just give yourself some time, a safe place to research, to learn, to look, and to get to know what it is they're trying to achieve. And when you recognize they're just something that was just born and it's just trying to go on about its life cycle and it doesn't like being bothered, then it just wants to go to sleep.
We can all relate to that, can't we?
Right?
Yes.
A lot of us can feel the same.
Okay, here's another theory why it's raining all the time. Interesting. And it's an annual balance, essentially only about 4 months of rain to 8 months of no rain, or 300 days of sunshine, as I like to refer to it. And we were chatting to a young man who was showing us around the Igreja de Santa Maria de Maravilha yesterday, and he was very happy to hear the rain was coming. Okay, I take it all back then. Right. And I am a farmer and learn from the local Portuguese. It's not fair to tell people that javali eat eucalyptus or that hoopos eat full-grown caterpillars. Neither. Okay, Pete's doubling down. We've lost Pete. Pete's doing his thing this morning. So yeah, fair enough, Pete. No one is forced to believe anything. We're a broad church, but then again, that's another truth.
Our own truths. We all have our own truths, and some of us have our own truth because we've seen and experienced that truth and taken the time, and that's allowed us to get to this level of awareness. We're all at our different levels of awareness because that's life, and we're all different, and that's beautiful. And I celebrate that, the difference in the
absolutely. Yeah, I thought you were gonna be on for 20 minutes, but there you go. You've come and blessed us with a meditation, which I will segment for anybody who might like that. We'll stick that up on our channel. We might even cross-fertilize it to New Reality TV, and perhaps you can come and join us on there one day. In fact, we were talking to Sadhu Dar yesterday on New Reality TV, and he took us through a lovely process of breathing right down into the belly. We also did some like a Buddhistic shamanistic breathing as well, which was very moving, particularly for Mrs. M yesterday. So I will keep my Batalha slideshow for later in the week, because you and I might as well just chat until the end of the show today and mention a few things that have been popping up on Share and Care, of course, which you are a founder of and facilitate. And I see there's a very I won't give away anyone's names because it's a kind of sacred and supportive space, and so it should continue to be.
People need to use it more.
Oh,
you know,
okay. Well,
it's a new year. We're starting to learn to do new things. We're opening our mind to new ways of being. So beginning this year, I know I wasn't here for January, but let's start to acknowledge our grief and our feelings. Like I said today, go to take advantage. It's free. Share and Care is a free gift. It was set up by Debs to honor her husband, Michael.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And there for all people who are grieving the health during a chronic illness or terminal illness. It's there for people who are sitting with dying. It's there for people who are experiencing the death process, and not just the person dying, it's for the family as well. It's also there for the funerals and the grieving. So I am here for people. Just send a message, it's perfectly free. That's what we're here for. We're here as a community service.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've got somebody to connect you with. I at the weekend I was talking to an American couple who described that moment. And James and I have talked about this on Mondays. But you moving to a new country, coming to Portugal, it's full of upside and positivity because you kind of need that energy to get here. And then they talked about the kind of crash soon after, and they described it as grief.
It is
some things aren't working out, and I think the phrase they used, they started to take it personally, and everything that was happening to them they started to take personally, and
absolutely.
they thought, what a lovely place it would. Wouldn't it be great to have a place where that could be talked about? So you have that, you provide that.
It's just, now you've mentioned it, this is what me and Carl have been saying for a few years now. Come, share your grief. We want to hold space. It's an honor to hold space for you. As soon as you're noticing that something's not right, grief is the loss of something familiar. I've got a book out there called Meeting Your Grief. It's free for people on Kindle that are Kindle members.
This turned up at our house yesterday. It's on the agenda, isn't it? It's being talked about.
Yeah, grief is an amazing thing. So grief it's an energy, and it transmutes, and it has so many facets because it's life. Grief is life. And anytime we lose anything familiar to us, we're left sitting with the grief of our health, the grief of our home, the grief of our job, the grief of new people, missing the old people, the grief when maybe we've had some work done on our house and we're like, oh my word, I'm because we're grieving what it was, what we were used to, because we're used to things, and that's how we're built. And our human negativity bias is to focus on what we've lost instead of being open to the new. And this is where we retrain our brains and reframe things.
Yep, indeed. So that's what's on offer. A couple of things from Sharing Care. The mushroom burial cocoon. Can you use that in Portugal if you wanted to have a something
No,
like a, it's not. I'm not going to call it a coffin. Let's call it a casket. A casket made of mushrooms. You can't do that in Portugal yet.
No. The thing is, I don't. For those of us that weren't here on our earlier talk, Carl might remember this. You were like eco-burials. Now there's one funeral, one cemetery in Portugal, and it's licensed to do eco-burials, but the small print says you can't have an eco coffin. Right, so it's not an eco-burial at all, because the rules that are in force today in Portugal stand from the 1800s, and they've never been changed. So it's from the late 1800s. So there is no eco-burials. The nearest you'll get to an eco-burial is cremation.
Wow, that's an interesting thought, isn't it?
So if you want an eco-burial, you're going to have to make sure you've got your paperwork in place and get your body sent off to wherever it needs to be sent off to go in this. And then you'd have to be embalmed. And embalming means that you're going to take longer to decompose. And I'm not sure how chemicals react to being in with the mushrooms.
Yeah, all right. I'm standing by for Pete's comments on this. Mushroom casket there, Pete. What do you think about that? And one other thing there before we go this morning, I thought this was rather lovely and a very thoughtful contribution. This is somebody who lost their husband, and they were looking for a group down south in Portugal, and they couldn't find anywhere. And the key words for them were social yet supportive. And then they found something called Embark 2, a non-profit group based in England with several international members, including Portugal. They encourage local meetups for morning coffee, walks, activities, and just socializing. That sounds lovely. We're having a no-host lunch. There you go. Community-based rather than consumerism, and meetup on January the 16th and again January the 30th. So that's gone, but I imagine this will continue. You can find out more details of Embark 2 and what they're doing in Portugal as a social group for widows and widowers over at Sharing Care. So thank you to the person who contributed that to us over there at Sharing Care. It's a couple of minutes past 9. I'm sure you've got other things to do. Maybe go out for a walk with the dogs if it's not too if it's not lashing down. I'll have to come back to me olive pond tomorrow as well. Go on. So your last words to you.
Well, just have a wonderful day, and don't forget yourselves, folks. You know, just even if it's just for 1 minute, set your alarm 1 minute, and just allow yourself to be.
How about that? Sorry, I did say last words, but you were talking about Valentine's Day, and you were triggered by that to share with us. Valentine's, by the way, Saint Valentine is the patron saint of lovers. And whilst I grossly and coarsely referred to it as leg over weekend for Valentine's Day, of course there is that there is that lovely possibility and part of it. But of course, as the patron saint of lovers, that is, that's loving everything, isn't it? Not just the romantic or sexual love. This is love in all its forms, of which Valentine is the patron saint. Also, patron saint of people with epilepsy and beekeepers. How about that? So why not have a honeymoon as well? Daub a little bit of honey on your lips and those in your life, and speak only kind and sweet words for 30 days. I think that's the origin of the honeymoon, everybody. So thanks, Mamabear McGowan of Creative Roots Portugal and Sharing Care. And we'll see you again. Say again.
Don't forget, we're also on a full moon, and that's going to be the perfect opportunity to really embrace this practice and give us the opportunity to start really making it a practice. Practice means we practice. Yeah.
When is the full moon?
12 tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's good, because we're having a party, which you're just going to find out about in a moment with our outro. But I'm thinking having a disco with alcohol and a full moon could be a little bit too much.
Yeah,
the full moon will have passed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Full moon sounds wild.
All right, Om Shanti, Namaste, and up the gunners to you. I shall see you again soon. Take care, love. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao, everybody. See you tomorrow.